Good morning. Our hand today is going to be King Jack. So in this hand, we have Villain 6 early position player opens to 3.5, and it is to me on the button. So this villain, 22 hands is what I have on him. Right now he's playing 18-14, so he looks to be kind of a regular type player. I think his raise size 3.5 is a little bit big. I think standard raises that I typically see are anywhere from like 2.5, or I should say like 2.8 up to maybe 3. So the 3.5 seems to be a little bit big. I'm going to go with that kind of range, like almost a 5.5 to 6% range. Looks something like this. I'm going to add 9s too. I think some larger size tends to indicate something like this. Some of these pairs, queens, jacks, that they're afraid to play because if an overcard comes on the flop, they don't know how to play it. Maybe they have ace king or ace queen. You know, a lot of people fear that anytime they play those hands, they lose. Maybe they play aces and kings like that because they've just had a couple beats and they don't want to raise and then have 5 players behind them, so they try to size up. I think if they raise to 4 or 5 big blinds, it's probably more indicative of these hands. Again, maybe 3.5s is his standard, maybe it's not. So it kind of leaves us in a quandary as to what kind of range he's going to have. If we add additional pairs, if we add additional, Broadway hands, we increase our frequencies, and maybe that's what we need to do since he's playing 18%, and just say he's going to play something like this. I'm going to leave off the offsuits. We don't know if he plays ace jack or king queen at this point. But something like this, maybe about 10%. We'll go with this 10% range. Folds to me. 2 players on the button. We've got unknown here. He's played 2 out of 3 hands so far. That doesn't tell us anything. Villain 3, 91 hands, played 27% from the small blind. He's called a 2-bet, 70%. I think if I call, there's a chance that one of these guys call, but I'm in positions and I have a hand that's kind of a little speculative. So, it's not like I'm hoping if I flop top pair that I expect to win, a huge percentage of the time. I'm really hoping with this hand to flop something big and try to take stacks down. So if I just call here and one or both of these players call, it's not the end of the world. We can see how other people play before making our decision. However, if we're looking to isolate, then yeah, we should be raising here. Now, is raising the correct thing? If we raise right now, villain is folded 100%, 2 out of 2. If we raise, I think he's going to fold all of his suited hands, possibly some of these lower pairs. I should say suited connector hands. All of his lower pairs, probably maybe ace 10, ace jack, which is a good thing for us. And he's going to call with like his big premium hands. I think we could make an argument for raising, or I think we can try to go for some extra EV. By just calling. So this is my button versus early position calling range. King Jack is suited there. That's what I'm going to go with. So I did call, and both blinds folded. So we are heads up. Flop comes 9-4-3. 3 diamonds. So we have a 2 overs and spade draw, which looks pretty good. So, I mean, overall, this tends to hit the caller's range a little bit better in terms of the 9. Villain's going to have a bunch of offsuit cards, or I'm sorry, unpaired cards, high unpaired cards. Maybe it's considered a slightly neutral board. So I think both of us could have a chance of hitting it. Definitely he has the equity advantage because he has all of the high overpairs, the jacks, queens, kings, aces. Those are all hands that I should be raising pre-flop. All right, so villain c-bets, and he bets rather large, about 75% pot. So he's bet large pre-flop. Now he's bet large again. Would he do that with top pair? Maybe. Would he do that with pocket pair less than the top pair? Probably not. I'm going to say no. Again, we don't know what his c-bet, what his standard sizing is. I'm not even sure if he would necessarily do that, make that size with flush draws. I think here this is just like he's betting, try to push us out. So I kind of think he's got something, maybe over pair, maybe top pair. I don't think pocket pair less than the top card. We can always put it in there and say, look, this board isn't really favorable. No one's going to really hit this board hard. So, he's just betting here, hoping that I fold. Or maybe he's got something, some equity. Maybe he has ace queen of spades. So I think what we'll do is we'll just leave in. Maybe we'll say he c-bets 100%. I think c-bet 100%. I think that's probably good. And then it's on us. Do we call? Do we fold? Do we raise? I'm not really sure I like the raise here. If we raise, we're going to be raising to about 18. If he comes over the top, it's going to put us at a tough decision. I think if he puts him over the top, he's going to have an overpair, and we're probably not going to have the odds to draw to this flush. So we've got second nut flush draw, and we have a backdoor straight draw. I think this is definitely a hand we want to see turn and river with. So here, if we were to raise, we would be raising with a set. I think we would be raising with the overpair, probably top pair, and probably these pocket pair less than the top card, I think are the ones that we would be raising. And we would be using these pocket pair less than the top card as kind of our bluff range. So I think raising is looking at like 50%. For us, we're just calling. So I think we're probably going to be calling pocket pair less than the board. It's kind of like we're going to make that with the possibility of turning that into a bluff. And we're going to do flush draw, gut shots, and then I think probably the 2-card backdoor flush draws. I'm not sure if we're going to do all over cards. I think we maybe could. But I think it works a little bit better if we're calling with a 2-card backdoor flush draw. It gives us a little bit more equity with playing those overcards. So, even if we don't hit a diamond on the turn, maybe we hit an overcard that will improve us. So I think we're going to probably be calling with that range. And you can see it's a drawing range. That's what it is. It's a drawing range. And really, I think there have been times when I've called with just over cards. So let's say Queen Jack, and then I end up having a fold to turn. I think it's probably best to have like diamonds, so that way we always have the possibility of catching a diamond. It gives us extra outs on the turn that allow us to continue with that hand. So we did call. Jack of clubs comes out, and now we see another big bet. So at this point with the Jack of clubs, I'm starting to think that maybe he has something better, and maybe he has top pair plus. I don't think he's got 10s or 9s or 8s. I'm starting to think maybe he doesn't have the flush draw unless he has a hand like the ace or the king. We'll say king queen, king jack. We'll say ace king. The nut flush draws. I think we'll leave queen jack, jack 10. Because those are all like top pair type hands too. But I think 8, 7, 7, 6 probably not. I don't think he's doing this with a gut shot and so forth. So I think at this point we're down to 33% of his range, and his range is actually pretty strong. So we need 30% equity to call. With our hand, do we raise? I guess that's a good question. If we raise, I don't think we're getting any folds. I honestly don't. So I think this full 33%, I think he's still going to call. So I don't think raising really accomplishes anything, which means that we're just going to have to call. Should we call with top pair? Yeah, I think top pair is too strong. Too strong to fold at this point, but I think middle pair is gonna fold. I think we can call with our open ender. I think we can call with our flush draw. I don't really think we can call with a gut shot unless it's part of, you know, our flush draw here. So I think 50% we can call. Our plan, if we don't hit and he bets again, he's demonstrating that he has at least top pair, probably something better. He's fired 75% now, twice. He's got a big hand. So I did call. 6 clubs comes out, doesn't help us. And what does villain do? Pot's 52.7 and he bets 39.5. So maybe 2/3. 75 maybe, about 75. Now 3 times, 75% pot. Is he doing this with a bluff? I can't imagine he's doing it with a bluff, and I'm not at this point. I'm not even sure if he's going to be doing it with top pair, other than like ace jack. I think king jack has some equity. Queen jack has some equity. Maybe he has that. You know, maybe he has, you know, all of these top pairs. And if he does have all those top pairs, then you think about, you know, what we have. We're only at 12%, 12.5%. So it reminds me, let's go back to here. So we needed 30% equity. We're at like 28.6, which I think is okay, because I think if a spade comes out, we can get an extra bet to cover those last, you know, 1 1/3%. So I'm okay with calling here. I really do think if a spade comes out, pot was going to be 52. We could probably bet, you know, 20, 15 or 20 and get that call. So I think we're good here. But here on the river, he bets big again. Even with our top pair hand, we're only at 12%. I think this is an easy fold, and it should be an easy fold. Unfortunately, I remember this hand. I wasn't thinking about it. After the hand, I'm thinking, geez, you know, how almost unlucky that I faced, you know, an overpair. But then I thought about it and said, hold on, he bet, you know, basically 75% 3 times. You know, those 3 times he's, you know, by the time we get to the river, he's saying he can beat a jack, or at a minimum, he's got something like ace jack. So I think we could have easily found a fold on the turn. I'm sorry, fold on the river, and save myself about 40 big blinds. So what did he have? He had queens. Is that in his range? Yeah, it is. So what we'll have to do is add and say that he was, you know, he c-bet and barreled with overpair, and the sizing. So that way, if we see him again and he makes similar sizing, or his sizing changes, we can take additional notes, because maybe he has some bet sizing tells that we can utilize to our advantage. So on this hand, I think we're okay. We could 3-bet. I mean, if we 3-bet pre-flop, he's probably going to raise us. If he doesn't, we're going to c-bet. And if he check raises us at that time, or if he dunks into us, we're going to probably end up calling down to the river. And then on the river, when he bets, we should be folding. So the mistake that I see in this hand was calling that river bet. I don't think we ever should have called that river bet. And I think I just kind of got caught up in the, I've got a spade flush. Ooh, I hit top pair. That's good. He's still betting into me. He's not going to know I have top pair. I'm going to call it and catch his bluff, without really considering, hey, he's done this 75% pot 3 times. He's not bluffing. So messed up this hand, but it's good to review it. All right, hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.